Hey guys, it's Amber here. I'm back with another video, and I've got my friend Eric here from Vegan Ostomy. You can check him out on YouTube as well. And we just wanted to get together and talk about ostomy life and how we keep a positive attitude and some of the bizarre questions we get. So Eric, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Again, my name is Eric. I do have the YouTube channel and website, Vegan Ostomy. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease back in 2008. And after several years of kind of going back and forth with medication and whatnot, I decided to have an ostomy in 2013. So now I am a permanent ileostomate, and I've been advocating ever since my surgery. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I watch your videos and I just love your positive attitude, and I'm so glad that we can meet and chat about ostomy life.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So one of the questions that Amber and I both get and something that we hear a lot of is, or at least observe anyway, is that a lot of people really feel negative about the prospect of having an ostomy or actually living with an ostomy. And we're hoping to at least share some of our part about why we're so positive about ours. And, I think it's an important topic to talk about. There is a lot of negativity, unfortunately, that you will see. Now, I tend to be the type of person who sees a lot of negativity online, but in my head, I know those are probably the people who are having issues. So they want to vent their problems. They want to look for answers. So they go online, and that's kind of the piece that we see. So that, to me, is one of the important parts of it. We need to keep that in perspective, too, that a lot of the negativity that we see online from other people may not be truly representative of, all the ostomates out there. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know when I first got my ostomy, I was having problems with leaking a lot because the skin around my stoma was uneven due to some scarring around where I had my stitches. And so I know there were so many days where I was just like, gosh, I can't get this figured out. And it was all so new to me. And so many people were telling me so many different things to try, and it just wasn't working. And, it got to the point where I was just so frustrated I didn't even want to try to go to work because I was like, gosh, it's just going to leak and get on my clothes, and then I'm going to have to come home. But I think what I had to focus on is, especially at the beginning, I don't know if it was like this for you, but you've got to be patient and give yourself time to figure everything out and figure out what works for you and for your body, and just focus on the light at the end of the tunnel and just be patient, because you're not going to just wake up from surgery and have it all figured out and know exactly what to do and exactly how to put on your equipment and everything. And it was just really some trial and error for at least a month or two for me. And so I think a lot of new ostomates, they just get kind of frustrated. It's like, oh, I've got this bag now. This is going to be a horrible life change, and I'm frustrated because I don't really know how to put it on. And that's how I got in touch with you. I started watching your videos, and you just have to focus on trying to find what works for you and staying patient during that process.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. Like just in my own story, like I was sick for many years, and this, the ostomy was kind of, it was an inevitability for me. So it was expected. I was going to have a surgery. It was coming. I knew it was coming. But there are a lot of people out there who are surprised, and just one day they wake up with an ostomy. And I think for them, yeah, there's like no time to prepare for that. Mentally, there's no time to learn about, what the surgery is going to mean for their lifestyle. So that is a scary thing. But I think it's important that, let's take it down a level, breathe, and let's learn this thing, because there is a lot to learn. There is a lot you have to adjust to, but it can be done. And eventually, once you get the hang of it, it becomes very easy. At least in my experience, it's become very easy. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things I think that becomes overwhelming is the fact that there are a lot of supplies that are just kind of thrown at new patients, right? So for
Yes.
some people who are in a hospital that provides samples, a lot
Yeah.
of the times they like load up a big goodie bag full of like every type of,
Yeah.
ostomy supply you can imagine, but not all of them are going to be necessary. So it's
Right.
important to realize that if you find yourself, waking up with an ostomy, and you have a bag full of these supplies, you're not gonna, you may not need all of them, first of all, and just take it slow. The most important components are your bag and your base plate, or if you have a one piece, it's just that one system. That's all you need to concern about. And then there are extras if you run into trouble with leaks or skin irritation that you may have to add on to it. But don't look at all those supplies and think like, how am I ever going to learn all this? Because it may not be as complicated as what you think at the beginning, right?
Yeah, I know when I was first learning how to put my equipment on, it was a 45-minute process. I used every single thing that was in those goodie bags. I would use the spray and the powder and the wax ring and the paste and the flange and the bag. And it was just like, finally, I met a nurse and she, showed me a new way to put it on. And I did learn less is more. So, and people, they started mailing me things. I was like, how do they even know where I live? I'm not sure. So I started getting samples in the mail. I started getting emails. The hospital loaded me up. So just don't be afraid to try less, because I had anxiety about it. I was like, I can't take the wax ring out of the equation. I have to use it. And then when I finally did, that's what worked for me, due to my uneven skin. So just don't be afraid to try new things, because everyone's body is different. So everyone's routine may be a little bit different, and you just have to find what works best for you.
So how can people change their perspective? Because that's really the biggest barrier, in my opinion, is that attitude piece. If you're starting off negative about your ostomy, I can't see you having a good time with it, months later, weeks later, right? So how
Right.
do we shift that from being negative or being, just not wanting to have the ostomy? How do we get to acceptance and then living your life,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, for me, first and foremost, I'm a person of faith, so prayer was huge to me. But other than that, really, I just had to, at first, it wasn't easy, but I had to force myself to do normal things. Once I saw myself as normal again and not, at first I would walk in a room and I would be like, they see my ostomy bag, they know I have one, and I just felt like it was this big target on my head or something. Once I forced myself to do normal things like go hiking, run in a 5K, I went to a trampoline park with my friend, and showing myself that, there's nothing different about me. No one is perfect. Everybody has something about them that isn't perfect, and we're all just imperfect people. And once I just showed myself, I'm just living my life like everyone else, and this is just what allows me to live that life, then that's when I really started feeling okay with it. I just tried to see it as something that saved me, and I just started trying to do normal things. And even when I didn't want to, if I didn't want to leave the house, or if I just wanted to stay in my room, just really getting up and getting that sense of normalcy, and just not treating myself any differently. I couldn't expect everyone else to treat me normal if I wasn't treating myself like a normal girl. So
Yeah,
that's
and
really the thing that made the difference for me.
that is huge. And yes, you have to sort of set a bar, because the way you treat and love yourself, that's gonna be a bar that other people are gonna be looking at to set,
Yeah,
right? So if you're portraying a lot of negativity towards your ostomy, or I know some people, they're self-conscious when they're in public. If
yeah,
you're clenching at your side and kind of making it seem like it's really bothering you, people are going to feel uncomfortable. So you
exactly.
don't have to do that. The more comfortable you are, the more comfortable other people are going to be.
Yeah,
But for me, I think there's a couple of techniques and tools that you can use to help change that perspective a bit. So one of the things that I like to do is, rather than me dwelling on the things that I may not be able to do or can't do now that I have an ostomy, I start planning for the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
And as a challenge to myself, and it's kind of like a mental game, I can't honestly think of something that I can't do because of my ostomy. And I would challenge anybody to think of something,
Yeah.
because there are people out there, you know, that have an ostomy that are doing everything from skydiving to scuba diving to racing cars to being in fashion shows. I mean, like, the list goes on. There's really nothing that I can think of that my ostomy prevents me from doing.
Right.
Right. So that might be something to consider, is look at, you know, the things that you want to do. And I encourage people to look at some of the advocates that are out there. Like you, for example, you're a radiant advocate for ostomates. And, you know, when you start to see other people doing those things, it encourages you to do those things. And when I was a very new, or even before I was an ostomate, that kind of freaked me out. I didn't know what I was and what I wasn't going to be able to do, but I started seeing people living happy lives, doing activities that I wasn't even doing before when I was healthy. And, you know, I just started doing more and more after my ostomy. It really never slowed me down.
I go swimming, I go hiking, everything that I wanted to do before, but I couldn't do because I was sick, I can do it now. So it's kind of funny. I actually got to the point where I couldn't do it without the ostomy, and I can do it now with one.
Now, the second thing that I use, and this is something that you have to kind of train yourself to do, but the second thing that I use is I try to remove negative words, or I try to replace negative words with a more positive spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
So just as an example, someone might say, well, I have to have this ostomy now. Now I'm stuck. I have to have an ostomy.
Yeah.
If you were to just swap a few words around and phrase it like, I get to have an ostomy.
Exactly.
That changes the entire meaning of the phrase, right? It definitely puts a positive spin on it, but it really grounds your thought process. Rather than being angry at it and saying, well, now I'm stuck with it, I'm forced into it.
Yeah.
Now I have the option of having the ostomy. Now I get to have one.
One thing that me and my friend did that I told you about earlier, she has the ostomy. We named our stomas. So, instead of, you know, saying my stoma, or, you know, if I have to go to the bathroom or something, we make a joke about it. And so hers was Stella, the stoma. She's going to crack up when she sees this. And mine is Trixie. So I'll be like, oh, got to go to the bathroom. Trixie's calling. And then it's just, you know, something to laugh about. So instead of making it so serious, I just try to make it lighthearted, you know. And some of my friends, they'll be like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. You know, where am I going to go? I was like, I don't have that problem.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people will name their stomas. That's a fun thing to do. Why not, right?
Yeah.